There's a famous quote from Einstein that says, no problem can be solved with the same level of consciousness that created it. And when we look at today's world, one of the overarching features of today's world is increasing complexity at an exponential rate. And there's no question about it that where the world is going, many managers are ill prepared for. And so part of our vision was to look at something that's comprehensive and would enable people to get a sense of a broader whole.
The title of the program, Integral Leadership, is really apt on a couple of dimensions. The theories and the practice, they are interdependent themselves, so they integrate very nicely. But then there's the other layer that leadership is about the whole person.
You cannot enter a program like EIL with preconceived notions, and I think that once you accept the fact that you can learn more, then I think it just everything flowers and blossoms after that.
Our program is really about a certain way of being. It's about authenticity, actually. So it's not just what the instructors say. It's not just binders that they give. It's not just a lecture. Our instructors must be able to model that behavior, and it must come from deep within. It is the Notre Dame way because from our founder, there's this phrase, the development of the mind should never come at the expense of the heart. And so we believe that for the person's own long-term success, as well as what is fair to society, we do want people who could lead with both their heart and their mind.
I think it is a huge difference that the experience was here on campus. We were given access to all areas, whether it was having lunch in the cafeteria with students, seeing the art museum, the tour of campus. I mean, really, we had the backdrop of Notre Dame as part of our experience.
There's a lot of leadership programs out there, but for a university like Notre Dame to host it, they seem to be able to tap into the perfect panel of facilitators to come in and provide that harmonic balance of learning to take back and compress it into a week's time.
It's not a week, though, where you can come and get caught up on your sleep.
Yeah, it's a common
because of inability.
I like the action lift coming off.
I knew coming in the intensity of what we were going to do. I mean, they were very clear that we needed to try and tell people at work we weren't going to be available. We saw the schedule, that it was going to run all day. But I didn't realize what that really meant until you're here.
If you'd have told me last week that I'd be on a stage singing the blues with an accompanying pianist, I wouldn't have believed you.
My boss is tough. My boss is mean. Doesn't care about anything else. Just keep the books clean.
I think that improv in general helps with listening because I think sometimes those of us who are making decisions are always thinking about what we're going to say next. In improv, you can't. You have to listen to what other people are saying and build on what they're saying.
That we assume that this is a negotiation where somebody wins and somebody loses, and because of that we make certain assumptions. If you're splitting the difference of two differently valued things, you're shortchanging both parties.
On Monday night we did the improvisational work, and the next day we did the negotiating work. And I had an aha moment because our three-man negotiating team was faced with a situation that we had not anticipated, and we had to think on our feet. That was clearly an extension of that improvisational work that we did the other night.
And I would say that the difference between this leadership experience and what I've done in the past is that it was so holistic, and it was something that was so eye-opening, and you don't want to say it was a burning platform, but for me, in a way, it was, because I felt like I knew I needed to make changes. There was things that I had done that had gotten me to a certain level of success, but if I wanted to continue, there was more that I needed to do.
When I came here, I had several issues I needed to work out, whether I knew them or not at the time. And the first time I opened up my 360 evaluation, I just about cried. I really had a hard time understanding, just on first blush, the difference between how other people saw me and how I perceived myself, and the vast difference really hit home.
nothing could have prepared me for the 360 that we did at EIL. In addition to, going through the coursework in general, we had a 90-minute session that we had with an individual coach, and we really dove deep into not only the things that were weaknesses, but also what potentially was driving that. And it was emotional, and it was breakthrough.
It really took it from a whole life perspective. We talked about how a lot of your values and things that you take into maybe your business aspect now, you develop at a young age. So the 360 really kind of took you to the core.
EIL is unique in creating an environment where executives, senior leaders are given the environment, the atmosphere, the tools, and the support for doing that kind of deep thought and deep introspection. I know of no other leadership program that offers them that kind of opportunity.
The Executive Integral Health Program really is, I think, a very valuable concept and product, because it's the only one that I know of that integrates all the elements of a person into their leadership. And we've had people who have transformed their lives.
When the doctor sat with me, and for me, I was over 400 pounds. I was large. I'm a huge man. And I'm sitting in this room with this doctor, and she looks at me and says, hey, your blood pressure looks okay, your cholesterol looks okay, but you'll still be dead in 5 years if you don't get yourself in shape.
But a lot of people have really taken it to heart and have really revitalized themselves.
It was doing all the right things for your body and treating your body like you would treat your business, taking care of it and making it a long-term commodity for you.
There's so many good things in the curriculum, but it's probably the networking and interaction at the different lunch settings and dinner settings, where you're able to take what you observed and felt in the classroom and apply it in a more relaxed setting.
There is such a nice diversity of people from various backgrounds, different levels of management and leadership. So you find yourself learning from people in very unexpected ways.
People that are in a lot of the same stages of life, a lot of the same issues, and we're really mulling through them, and people have gotten pretty deep into their issues, and I think there's a real camaraderie out of it. So I think that's been really valuable. There's some people I know I'll be talking to long after this is over.
It is a transformation process from top to bottom. Whether it's spiritual, emotional, even physical. It's just a good cleansing, hitting the big reset button, able to go back to face bigger and better challenges with a lot more balance.
What an exciting change, in my methodology of leadership. I came with the notion that it was definitely a corporate issue. But this gave me an opportunity to look deeper down inside, because leadership for most institutions teach only just the metrics, just the results, the sales cycle, the profitability. But this gave us more of a holistic approach of looking deep down inside at us.
We are so much more than what we do, or even who we are in terms of our profession. And everyone here comes from pretty high-powered leadership positions, and I think this is really feeding our minds, but also our souls and our hearts, so that I think we leave here with a much more rounded, holistic perspective on what my contribution is to the world as a leader.
The one thing that stands out for me with EIL was that it's now been a year and a half, and I still maintain those learnings, because they're so integral to me and to what I represent as both a professional and an individual.
Investing in your leaders is very, very important, and this was more than just a week of textbook style leadership direction. It really was an internal look, down to your soul, literally, and something that, that you can't put a price tag on that.
It's extraordinary, but for an abnormally high percent of people who attend this program, they say their lives are forever changed, and in a very good and positive way. And if this could be a process that gets replicated through society, then we might make a real contribution at a point in time when certainly the earth is thirsting for great leaders.